Hello and welcome to the Analytic Show, the podcast of business through the lens of data science. But together, we'll dive into learning and sharing where various industries are heading and how data and analytics is at the heart of shaping business growth and productivity. Let's spark different ways of thinking about data and analytics that is relevant to you and prepare your business for future disruption. I'm your host, Jason Tan. I'm delighted you could make it on this journey with us. Hey guys, to continue to get support tips, techniques, and tools and learn from the expert, hit that subscribe button wherever you are so we can keep in touch and continue our lifelong learning together. So, are you using your company data to its full potential? Take our embedded analytic assessment to find out your score. A leading organization like Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google have moved beyond dashboard and embedded data science directly into their daily business operation. With our 3-minute test, you will discover your potential in optimizing customer experience and revenue through embedded analytics. You will gain greater clarity, insight, and advice to embed analytics. Plus, you will receive customized results instantly. Find the link to this assessment in the description of this episode. Hello, Sitt. Welcome to the Analytic Show podcast. So excited to have you here, dialing all the way from Myanmar. I think you are probably my first guest coming from Myanmar. I am super excited to learn what is happening in your country, but equally what you guys do in the healthcare industry. Super excited.
Thank you, Jason. I'm really equally excited to be here. To be invited by you and talk about what we have been going through and what we are doing in recent years, particularly in Myanmar, where there's many challenges compared to other regional country. But with a given resource and opportunity, we are being, I think, we have done some quite fantastic stuff here. Thanks a lot for having me.
Now, we're going to talk a lot about those things later on, especially keen to hear about the challenges and also the opportunity given what you have got. But before we get started, I learned that you were a clinical practitioner for 4 years. I thought that is fascinating from medical clinical practitioner to transitioning into doing what you do now. Share with us a bit about those years as a clinical practitioner.
Yes, Jason. So yeah, personally, yes, my personality type is always a supported type. Some might have, there's a color coding, there's a blue, there's a green, there's a red, yellow, right? So I was always primarily in the blue region. So I became the doctor in 2012, and after that, I went into the clinical practice at a private hospital, the same hospital currently I'm working, Pun Hlaing Hospital. I did in many departments as a coordinator, assistant to the main surgeon. I work in neurosurgical department, surgical department, orthopedic. And then at one day, there's some changes at the hospital, and then the one thing came into my mind, which is to being a doctor, that you can help to people, you can help to patients. But at that time, what I realized is being a good healthcare leader, you can help to, your help might reach to the thousands, millions of people at the same time, technically. So that is why with this intention, I would like to contribute to my country and my people. So that's why I decided, okay, this is a new opportunity, and this is what I think I will try for my career. Also, I would love to do. So I changed my career to the healthcare management role, and then particularly this health tech, and then transformation of health system. So this is what I'm doing right now.
I love your analogy of using the color to describe your role. It's very refreshing to hear that. And thanks for sharing that why you were transitioning that. And I on as I want to ask a little bit more about that experience. My question for you then is, I think at the front line with the practical experience, I feel like it must have given you some really unique view and the understanding on the challenges and the requirement of the staff. And those experience, I think it must have helped you with the works that you are doing now. But before we moving on to that one, my only question for you on that is that experience of those 4 years. What is one thing that you take to the heart to the of the dears?
Okay. So yes, you point out like just on point, what I feel like I'm a little bit different from like other like a head IT or etc. is yes, I work in the clinical field for 4 years, so I can be in the patient shoe, I can be in the like ground staff view. What are the challenges? What are the feeling? So if you ask like what is the one thing I would like to say is compassion. So
Mm,
whatever in medical field is all about love and caring, right? So
yeah.
we have to like have empathy. We have to think of from the patient side, because treating like disease by drug is not enough. You need like a communication engagement. You need to think of their social. You need to think of their like a psychological from round aspect. So compassion is a key theme. I'm still like thinking like this. So whatever the system I'm trying to do or things, I try to think from their side. I try to empathize. Okay, what will my step, or what will my patient will feel like if you introduce this new technology or stuff. So that is how I think I'm still like going on with this ideology.
From the technical skill set and
Mm-hmm.
knowledge perspective, given that you were working as a clinical practitioner, was that transition into the IT and the data and the analytic, was that a difficult period in terms of that transition?
Yes, indeed. As you know, like doctors were not equipped with and no digital skills technically. Like it's tradition. Doctors were equipped with like what are the science, symptom, pharmacology, anatomy, all those stuff, right? So at first transitioning, it was challenging, but personally also I'm a little bit IT enthusiast. I love all this new technology. I always follow what is it. But of course, the skill sets I need like very basic, like how to prepare a spreadsheet, right? So this kind of basic even I have to learn. And then lucky for me is I had some like fantastic mentor at my organization, so I can learn a lot. And then well, when IT and medicine, like clinical, is two different one technically. So medicine, this medical practice has its own terminology, own naming system, own way of thinking. IT also similarly, what they see is there's a 1010, or there's some syntax, or all those things. So technically, I'm just bridging between these two worlds. So I'm coming from clinical. I'm like understanding the IT side, technical side. So I'm just bridging and connecting. So that is my role.
Is like a interpreter between the two.
Definitely.
Do you remember there was someone that was very supportive uh, in the period of your transition?
Yeah, of course, my CEO, I would say like Dr. Gashupo is still
Mm.
the CEO of our hospital group. So he was always supportive, and he also came from clinical background and went into the management, and he was in CEO in New Zealand, like Australia, so not Australia, the Indonesia, and then came to Myanmar. So he was always supportive and mentor.
Wow, that's fascinating. Now, moving on to the works that you do, would you share with us about your current role as the Interim Chief Technology Officer at Pun Hlaing Hospital,
Yes.
and also perhaps about the organization itself?
Sure, sure. Okay, Jason. So our hospital group is one of the leading private hospital group in Myanmar. So currently, it is owned by a local conglomerate called the First Myanmar Investment, after my company by 60%, and then 40% owned by the OUE Lipo Healthcare from Singapore. So there's a 60-40 split. So actually, our flagship hospital was built in 2005 with the vision of building a better Myanmar for its people. And then from 2005 to 2014, it was only one hospital, like 150 bedded, but struggling quite a bit because of, like, at that time there were many country not open up and all the restriction. And in 2014, our chairman owner, he went out to find a partner, and then currently there's a new partner. Together with the new partner, and there's a new management team, our healthcare delivery model has been changed and updated. Currently, we have 3 hospitals and 4 clinics across Myanmar, and then we are seeing about 1,000 to 1,500 patients every day, like average every day, and then our total bed capacity is about 250 across like combining all the hospital. And then we are the very first hospital in the country who got the joint commissioner accreditation from US GCI. This a full certificate. And also I am proud to say, like, we're the very first frameless hospital. We started our fully digital radiology system in 2015. We did the fully paperless, all the digital electronic medical record system in 2018. And then now we are, like, for the next phase of our healthcare delivery, we are going into the hospital home, together with the home base and the hospital concept, and then using that digital technology as a tool. And so this is pretty much about it. And then currently we have about 1,400 staff across the group, like serving patients, like with a catchment area of around 1.5 to 2 million people. So sorry, this I think I so this our hospital with this currently it's from 2005 to 2000. This 17-year journey, and then we had different challenges. We have good time, bad time, and then the recent two successful ways. We were the very first private COVID hospital during this COVID time last year, and then also we set up the first private COVID vaccination center with a fully end-to-end automation from booking to the vaccination certificate issuing. So there's a reason.
That is so many things to unpack in there. But one of the things that I think that really important and that stand out is you spoke about the hospital is fully digital and is paperless. Would you say that has laid a very important foundation in digitize the entire organization, in building and having all the data that the organization would need in order to do all the things that we will probably be talking in a couple of minutes time about all the data and analytics. But that fully digital, that process, that decision of going full digital was such an important cornerstone to lay the foundation.
Exactly, Jason. So previously I mentioned like we are now going into the next phase of like change, like data-driven innovation, right? So data-driven care, home-based care, all those. The reason that we can is because of those foundations we laid out like 4 or 5 years back. So of course, this baseline of EMR system is a very basic foundation that is a glue between uh, the healthcare delivery units as well as the patient, doctors, staff, management. There's a glue between those. There's a given the transparency, the interoperability between the units. So without this foundation, like going into this data analytic, data-driven stuff is, of course, you can up to some level, maybe some like very specific, unique, or maybe one specific department. But if you want to go into the holistic care for the patient, from the disease to the wellness side, then from the like episodic care to the like continuum of care stuff, then these are the foundation that you must have from whatever part of the world.
What is one key lesson that you think that people can learn from that experience of fully digitize the hospital organization or a healthcare organization like yours in that process?
You mean that from the key experience learning?
Yeah.
Okay, so uh, I would say the first is the leadership and commitment. Previously you just said, right, so that's this like a very big change, right? So normally organization is every organization will think twice, to have a change. This is a very big change. So I said, right, we did this EMR system in 2018. But at that time, I'm not going to the exact investment, but the investment amount at that time is compared to our revenue is actually up to some point very high amount, not small. Because we came from like a total paper based to the digital. We have to invest all the servers, all the PC, all the stuff. So, but with our vision for next 5-10 years, we started this change. So the first is this commitment and leadership from the leadership team, starting from the like shareholder to the executive management team, and then there has to be some commitment and leadership. Second, I think I would say second is like of course, there's a teamwork and the compassion. I would say again, compassion and the empathy to understand. Okay, what are the needs for the patient? What are the needs for our colleague, our staff in the organization? Like not only like putting damping some system, like letting them use them. Everybody will resist according to the laws of change, right? There's always a resistor, early adopter, all those stuff. So that you have to empathize, you have to engage. And then third point is, of course, there has to be some environment so that ability that can support the change. So honestly, at that time also, our country, at least we had some network coverage across the country. We had like 4G coverage, fiber connection. That is where we can connect more. Without no internet, or then like like North Korea or stuff, then how can we? That is another change. So, but the key message I would like to say is leadership and commitment. So, if there's a will, there's a way. So that is the main experience, main learning point I would like to share.
Now that we have the context of the organization, what it does, and equally how the digital transformation has laid the foundation, can you give us an example how data analytics is used in improving the healthcare for the patient at the hospital?
Sure. Okay, I'm not going to other like I will share some of my hospital experience, right? Like
Of
maybe
course.
study. So, so our private hospital where we first introduced like resident and then 24/7 on doctor model. Just a little bit background, in Myanmar private hospital, historically, there's no full-time doctors in Myanmar private hospital. There are some visiting doctors, they are just more likely across the hospital, like visiting to each hospital based on their own call, their OPD time. But with our change in 2014, we first introduced full-time doctors model, so we hire like a different specialty. Currently, we have about like 100 full-time doctors across our hospital, which is we are only one hospital. So together with this, what we wanted to do is there's a multidisciplinary care approach. I'm also a doctor, but I would say doctors have different some are like there's some egos kind of stress are there. So working together is sometimes challenging. Just saying honestly, I think whatever part of the world it is more or less similar. So we want to introduce multidisciplinary. For the case, there has to be some physician, surgeon, or the nutrition going to give the best care for the patient. At first, we had quite challenge because all they have paper based, they are just wrongly and then they are writing on paper. Another doctor is in another place. Only when they reach to the work, they will see the information. Talking to each other was more difficult. Only physically they have to meet and stuff. But with the introduction of EMR, there's the information flow is much faster, much smoother. So only when there's a refer to a doctor, they can see immediately in their system from wherever they are, from home or from the OPD clinic, and then sharing their opinion also much faster. They don't need to like wait for someone to collect all the information on a sheet of paper and present to you. They just can see directly what is the summary, what is happening in the work in the for the patient, either through their tablet or their PC. And also in the discussion wise also, they will be able to explore and then look at all the data and the reports much easily. Wherever they meet, they just open a PC, just they can see, okay, this is a case, so this what's happening, how do we approach. And also like even the medicine itself, like if one doctor give medicine A, if another doctor want to give A, then they can see system can prompt up, okay, this medicine already prescribed, like do you want to give. Previously in a physical form it is not possible, right? Somebody has to go and check. So this is kind of I would say great improvement in our care delivery here. I think it's a good example that we are experiencing.
That is a fascinating example how data is being shared across different individuals just to speed up the whole process. Absolutely love it. And now I want to take this back to the direction where you were describing that how you wanted to help more people as you were transitioning from the medical practitioner into the tech. So on that direction, or on that context alone, I'm curious, what is your view, considering that you are in the industry and with this practical experience, and also as a tech enabler, from your perspective, do you think that data analytics can help improve one healthcare and wellness?
Yes. Medicine is always about data, Jason. So what we're trained in med school is we were trained to think, to connect each the data points. Okay, we're trained to think. Okay, this is an examination finding. This is a one data point we get from the patient. This history findings we get from the patient. This is a lab finding. Then we have to connect in our brain. Okay, this connection, and there's a conclusion. So there is medicine is always about data. So with this today technology, so we no longer think to need to collect each, and that the computer can help us a lot. Of course, the final decision has to be made by the doctor. There are some things that like even data still cannot solve. Like for example, some current psychology state, current their like social background or the current like the mood of the patient. For those things, there's a human judgment is there, but from the facts, the data points, the system can help. So with this thinking, and nowadays, like as you know, we have a lot of data, healthcare data we can collect from the personal gadgets like a smartwatch, all those IoT devices, and as well as with the data from the EMR system. So, so of course, previously with this human being, we have a limitation. We only have one episode. That we cannot think, we cannot like memorize and think whole journey at the same time and continuous. But together with technology, many things can be implemented. For example, like if I'm a diabetes, I have to do some fasting blood check, a regular visit. I have to do some HbA1c blood test, maybe every like 3 months or etc. Like I have to adjust the dose. But for what the doctor is, you will be able to review and adjust when you meet the doctor, like maybe 1 month or every 2 weeks, etc. But with this technology, we can automate some processes. For example, if your blood result is higher in then as the system can automate, alert to the doctor or prompt to the user or patient, you need to see the doctor or you need to adjust the dose according to this guideline, because the systemization is always about, automation, digitalization, and changing the human behavior. So of course, there's a lot of potential for the improves the one wellness.
I want to dwell a little bit deeper into the data collection that you have just mentioned. I think there are two things that we certainly can talk about here. Is the first thing first would be with so many mechanic, whether it's the wearable, all of these devices, collecting data is becoming more easier. But at the same time, people are equally concerned about their privacy. Do you think, from your experience, do you think is there any concern regarding this health data privacy?
Yes, together with this digital transformation, the dark side of it is always this a privacy security issue. In the from the internet era of like from 1985, 1990, like booming of internet in 2000, together with that there's privacy, security, and healthcare is no exception, of course. So if you want to embark on this, you have to think of this as a risk. There's always a consent. Consent, I think there's a two-part. One is a consent as an organization, or like as another is a consent at a personal level. So healthcare data. So what I would say is there are a few points that I would like to highlight that to make sure like to make our customers feel a little bit safe. So there's a two-part. One is internally and externally to make sure. So let's talk about internally first. So for internally, number one point as an like a healthcare provider organization is cybersecurity measures. We have to invest like similarly as like we invest in the system or the infrastructure. And number two is we need to identify, we need to know what are the data we are protecting. What types of data? Is it like image data? Is it like what kind of, it's an integer or all those kind of data? What kind of data we are protecting? Based on that, internally we need to have some governance structure and then control the risk of those data. Basically it's just there has to be some encryption, there has to be some protection, and then some knowledge of this data security, some not have to have. Of course, there's nothing, nothing is 100% proof, right? But what I learned along the way is for the privacy, like for example, hacker or like somebody who want to infiltrate, they always find the low hanging fruit. So as long as you are protecting enough, you have the proper measures, you will be the very less, and you have very less chance of being targeted by those. And then second is this externally. For external is we need to create trust for our customer. Customer mean can be our patient itself, or our third party governing body governor or our partners, by the communication of what are we doing. And then maybe in the future, what I see is currently it's not easy to implement. What I see is in the future, the data of the patient will be managed and controlled by those patients themselves. So only when they allow them to share, only then when they allow them to access those data. This is, I think, the way we are going. Nowadays, even we are now seeing like Facebook and all those app stuff. This is basically, and it will happen in healthcare sometimes. This is my point of view in terms of privacy.
I think the second part of my question is probably partly answered by what you have just described already. It is related to the external party, and what I was thinking as you were describing is that as we now live in this connected world, I find that from the technology perspective, the utopia of that is obviously how data has been collected and it can easily flow from one entity to another entity. And with that in mind, how the health data could potentially be shared with the health insurer to help with the insurer's perspective, and what is that balancing line? But I suspect your answer, as you were highlighting earlier, is about the patient having that personal control of what data can be shared or not be shared. Do you think that would be exactly the case with the insurer as well?
I think so. I believe so. It is because nowadays the digital literacy and then data consciousness of the people are much increased, because of many education, the movies, etc. So I think that is a case they should be the sole owner, what kind of data they can share. But at the same time, insurer also they have how to say, of course, this contractual agreement or the agreement with the customer. So they have the right, okay, based on those data you share, this is the insurance you can be claimed, etc. I think there's always a check and balance mechanism, and then that's why I say this governing body is becoming important, whether it's at the organization level or national level or maybe the global level. Without the government body, everybody will make sure their side is covered, and then at the end of the day, whoever that is a little bit poorer in knowledge of things where we obviously trick or anything, there's a potential case. So governing body and the strong regulation and standardization is I think that is a key thing that will control all those conflicts.
Hey all, I just want to give a quick shout out about this episode. It's sponsored by the Embedded Analytic program at DDA. And the Embedded Analytic program is designed for senior manager and executive in the business team who want to integrate data science into daily business operation and use it to drive customer experience excellence and revenue. And book unlimited strategy session for a full year and start embedding analytics into the business frontline. For more information about this program, please refer to the description of this episode. Now, let's get on back to the interview. Coming back to the topic of personal wellness, what kind of data do you think is important to track for the wellness purposes for individual?
Yes, yeah. This question, I think there's a no strict answer to this question, because I believe it is depend on the individual case by case, right? So, like I said earlier, if the diabetes, then the data important of the data for them may be different from normal person. If it is in the mid 30, different. If it's a mid 60, it will be different. It is a milk. If it's an Asian or white or black, or so it is depend on their all those ethnicity or age or gender or like any based background diagnosis, if any like family history, etc. So if I have my like the colon cancer history, then for me the data collection of this some cancer marker they need to be tested, maybe starting from 40 or etc. There's some finding of my like colonoscopy result, etc. So this will be more important for me. So when you talk about the personal awareness of data, at the end of the day, the future will be like more personalized and predictive care. So so the data, collected data and the prediction where has to be a personalized. Otherwise, there might be some exception, if the government has a specific concern, for example, like COVID, right? Of course, during COVID, the COVID is like pandemic, there's a concern. So then the data collection for everyone will be based on the COVID. But apart from this, there will always be a personalized data collection based on your need and then your like potential like a disease diagnosis profile.
Now, prevention is better than cure.
Yes.
My question for you then is, how can we make use of all of those data to help individuals becoming more aware of their health and subsequently make better choice by themselves?
Yes, I would like to reference what I said earlier. So, traditional, like the way we treat is more of an episodic care. When I have a symptom, when I feel not good, then I go find a doctor. Doctors will be or healthcare provider will be waiting at the hospital or clinic, right? So this is in another way, it is a push and pull. So we patients are pulled in the hospital when there's a disease. We are just sitting. In other words, I would like to say is like from the active and passive. So healthcare system is more of a passive. We are just waiting that when the patient can after the symptom. Now, with this technology and tools like a wearable and all those stuff, this became a push. This became an active. So push me. So we are no longer waiting. So we are serving the patient. We are serving the patient. We are making sure, okay, hey guy, you have a potential for diabetes, right? You have like your father and mother has a diabetes. So starting from this age, you have a very high chance of having diabetes. Just check this test every 3 months. Just eat, okay, like this, like a 1, 2, 3 model of eating, like one portion of rice, 2 portion of meat, like 3 portion of vegetable. Just probing them, okay, and then please try to walk every like 30 minutes every day. So there is becoming from the pull to the push, from passive to active. So and also if the patient start cooperating, or if we can persuade them to cooperate, we can ask them to, okay, feeling, okay, what is your blood glucose test? What is your for example, food you eat today? Then based on that, we can we can encourage. Of course, we cannot command everybody. It's based on everyone's right, but at least we can probe them. We can remind them to become the for the like healthier person.
I think data potentially could also be used to nudge them in doing those things. I know from experience that sometimes different people just respond to things at different timing and different way, and we live in a very busy world. Sometimes we just need a bit of nudging. So with the right data being collected, that can also build as a mechanism to nudge them. I think that could be another way to do that.
Yes, exactly, Jason. So yeah, so I feel like there's always a good and bad side of technology.
Yeah,
Nowadays, we cannot live without the phone. Whenever we go, my phone is together with me, like carrying around. there's a notification. I want to check like thousands of notifications. That's why this good have a push, but I of course this we have to be mindful of our like personal space and all those stuff. So there's always a good side and bad side, pros and cons. And then as a like ethical or like morally conscious leaders, we have to be mindful of all those stuff.
Most certainly. Now, I want to step away from the individual alone for in terms of the what we have just discussed. I want to move that to a slightly different direction in a bigger picture. How do you think, or how do data technology can help leapfrog a country healthcare system in your view?
Okay, this is a very good question. Honestly, this is one of the key reasons that I changed from clinician to this healthcare, like managing healthcare leader role. So I will give my country as an example. So as a background, so Myanmar is, we had a lot of struggles and political situation. We are like one of the least developed country in the South Asia region. There's always a political conflict, like civil war kind of stuff. So in 2010, Myanmar like kind of opened up. There's a change of the government, and there's a like official election. With this, we saw the light at the end of the tunnel. So okay, now opening up, there's a many opportunities. So our healthcare system is basically like we are far left behind. We are like 25 years, behind compared to Thailand, Indonesia, even like Philippines, etc. So as a young doctor at the time, is I want to help my country leapfrog. So that I know the healthcare system is really in trouble. So at that time, like in my mind is the technology can be a game changer. Because I saw in front of my eye, in mobile technology. You might not believe in Myanmar we never had like roadside paid phone in our old days. In other countries they are step by step. You have this like a landline phone, and then you have this paid phone with the coil or anywhere available, and then you have this a big cellular phone, and then you have this. Mobile like more portable phone, and you have 2G, 3G, right, 4G now, right? So, but so from us is we had landline, and then we skipped to 3G directly. Technically, there's no step in between. So no step. So we had the mobile phone at some point, but it's very limited, very expensive. $2,500 like one SIM card. Nobody can afford. We have to apply. So there's no payphone available in roadside. But with this, we had very leapfrog opportunity in the we had the best like penetration of 3G across the country. We had the most like smartphone adoption rate, because we never had like even keypad. So that's why everybody started buying smartphone. Whether it is from the Chinese smartphone to the like iPhone or like a Samsung or whatever. So we had about like 80% coverage of smartphone, where even other countries like study have 30%, 40%. So there is an opportunity I see, and then I tried this kind of this leading role. So another one is resources. Okay, so resources is always an issue, particularly in our part of the world. Of course, even in like Australia, even if there's some one way or another resource issue, but our part of the world more challenging. So with the adoption of technology, like we can ease this. We can ease this. With this connectivity, we are able to introduce this teleradiology, teleconsultation, all those stuff. Then resource sharing can be limited. Resource sharing can be achieve, and then all those interconnectivity. Another thing is in our part of the world is there's an infectious disease problem. There's also an increasing trend of non-infectious disease, NCD, non-communicable disease, like diabetes, hypertension, like a heart disease. And then at another side, there's an increasing population. Another side, there's a limited budget. So the efficiency is more and more important. Getting the right data at the right time, and then at the right place. All those are important. So with the help of the technology, with the help of this available like 4G, 3G connectivity, etc., then the public health policymaker, they were able to plan like from, like I said, from passive to active. Okay, we can see a trend. We can see region by region. So previously there are like many like initiatives. Let's say they do this initiative, but getting the data or success of this initiative is quite challenging. So all those can be like crystallized and combined together for us a leapfrogging effort of the country. So that is as Myanmar as an example possibility using the technology.
Wow. I was thinking about the couple of things that you mentioned there, like things like, for example, how the the infrastructure, the telecommunication infrastructure, like 3G, 4G, how that come into the picture has really changed the game, and equally also the introduction of the smartphone. From the cost perspective as well, like you were saying, right, is how the availability and the access to those smartphones combined with the connectivity due to the telecommunication infrastructure, it just moved the country suddenly one step forward. It is unbelievable. It's so amazing to see from your perspective, because for someone like myself who is not from the healthcare perspective, I just don't see it in that way. I just never seen in that perspective. So that is really refreshing to see, to hear
Yes.
that.
Thanks, Jason. Exactly. So there is whenever I see this example, in Myanmar, like born and raised in Myanmar my whole life. So with this change in like telecommunication technology, there are a lot of potential coming. Everybody have instant
Exactly. Yeah.
communication, like a business, like online trading, online selling. Previously, from the villager who is let's say producing some homemade like a peanut oil. If they want to sell, like they have to travel this, that. They don't know where to sell. Now immediately they can sell like by sitting. Okay, I have this oil. Like another buyer say, okay, I love it. Can you send me? Then they just send through the some delivery. So that's the opening. I see similarly in the healthcare. Healthcare also with this. We have a lot of potential, from the service delivery to the healthcare seeking pattern. Previously they did not know where to search. Now, yes, at least they have the channel to search. Of course, knowing how to search, which is the word, is another stage. But at least they have the channel. Through the channel, like I said, from the instead of waiting, we can probe them, we can push them, we can actively saying that, okay, do this, man. Your region has this increased rate of this kind of infection, like can be mindful, be careful, like that. There are many possibilities we can do.
I'm gonna get sidelined a little bit by the topic that we have just discussed. But one thing that what you just described in terms of that telecommunication infrastructure, it reminded me about the transport infrastructure and the access to the public transport infrastructure that I have seen in Japan, in Korea, in Singapore. One thing that I always felt that not only the public transport infrastructure is so well established and so well developed, the one of the really thing that stood out is the cost of using those public transport infrastructure is really, really low. And I think that is important in the way that it should be so low where the people who need to use it do not feel a burden of using it.
Right.
And as a result of that, it will only contribute to the bigger picture of the economic for the country, for the city, right? Obviously, now that we are so used to this whole idea of working from home, perhaps that may change a little bit. But I feel like that the low cost, the accessibility of the telecommunication infrastructure is so similar to the public transport infrastructure that I personally noticed in those countries that I just mentioned.
Yes, exactly. Yes, when we see this kind of public transport system in like Japan, South Korea, like Singapore, as you rightly say, we really envy, like from my like country perspective. But sadly, like in Myanmar, is still the state challenge. Although the telecommunication can ease some of the burdens, the state challenge because the healthcare is not, we cannot deliver 100% through virtual. There has to be some physical touch, testing, doing this. For the accessibility, they still have issues. You know, we have our like highway or road penetration is still low in the region. It's different from telecommunication. Telecommunication is building tower, putting the supply, laying out the fiber cable is, I think, much faster, and in the investment wise also compared to the like or the railway network or road network is things. But like you said, like the giving or easing out this kind of accessibility cost is very important from the country policymaker perspective to have better healthcare, like to ease the financing of patient, particularly in low income country like Myanmar, because still sadly about 40% of people are still under the poverty line. Their daily income was just very minimal rate, and then their accessible to healthcare is very limited.
Now, coming back to what we were discussing before the main track, now for Myanmar in particular, what improvement would you like to see in the country health system? Maybe in terms of the data technology, or maybe just in the general technology perspective?
Okay, I won't go into the general because general will be too big. So I will go into the more of from the technology and data perspective, right? So
Yes,
there's a few points that I would love to see in my country healthcare, like digital transformation. One is the standardization, starting from the very basic, unique ID of each patient. You know, this is very basic facts, and that will enable the interoperability between the across the healthcare system inside the country. You know, yes, in Singapore, in like UAE or Dubai, you have this ID. With this ID, from when you go to the hospital, they will here to assess you are like you are under the universal healthcare scheme or whatever. You know, those kind of things. And second one is that we need to have some initiative or guidance to develop a framework for interoperability, because I think when we talk about data, interoperability is the key one to deliver the end-to-end seamless continuum of care for the customer, for the patient. So they have to have a body or a committee or whatever it's called to organize, to talk between the different healthcare organization, whether it's a private, public, NGO. Then we need to have this kind of things. Third point is realization of some tests and regulation for those initiatives. Only then, you know, there have to be some incentive for the whoever they want to invest or whoever they want to develop. Otherwise, as I said, Myanmar is still low income, so the purchasing power of people are also low. So as you said, technology-wise, at least you need some investment. There's some purchase we need to do, even hardware, software. There's cost. So they need to have this realization. Then people will be more interested to invest. And the last one is, and most important in my point of view, is commitment and leadership again for those policymakers. So they need to have their vision. With this vision, they have to come with their commitment and leadership. Not only, only for their sake of getting more like a vote or etc., then it is not sustainable. But it is not a 1 year, 2 year. It is 5 year, 10 year, 15-year plan. Only then we will be able to achieve what we want.
Fascinating. I can see how some of those initiative and suggestion translate into the digital transformation and subsequently to be used in the data and analytic to solve that problem. Now, well, we have spoken mainly about Myanmar healthcare system. How do you see this point translating into other parts of the world?
Sure. Other part of the world, I believe there is no fit for all solutions, right? So in Africa, we'll be different. In Europe, we'll be a little bit different. Asia will be different. So starting from this, I think the most important you have is you have to have innovative mindset and the agility or ability to change quickly with the evolving situation, right? There are some countries in the world that they really achieve. To pick a few names, there's a small country in Europe called Estonia. I think it is the west side of the Europe.
Yeah.
1.5 million population. That if we're interested, just go and read about their digital transformation in the country. They really like transform digitally for the healthcare delivery using the blockchain and then other different technologies. So everyone has accessible to healthcare from their home. Even like they're able to book their DNA testing. Like 70-year-old grandma can book whatever test from home through the one touch of mobile, and then all are like interoperable, connected. And then another part of the world, in Africa, I forgot the name. There's one country, maybe I don't know. Okay. So that thing, in a sense, is in Africa normally is a very limited resource, not. But even they found a way, even limited resource. There's some blood bag transferring systems using the drone technology and then some 4G technology. So what I would like to say that if you have enough innovation, commitment, and then agility to change, then everything is possible from whichever part of the world.
Thank you for sharing that. We have spoken quite a bit from the use of data and analytic in your organization, a healthcare organization like a hospital, to personal wellness, to the country health system. I felt like that is just so much in this episode of the podcast. Thank you so much for that. Is there anything else you would like to share apart from all of those three things that we have already just discussed?
Yes, it's in like this like lovely session. Really appreciate all the questions and stuff. So I personally, I will continue to like advocate, like or like encourage all the leaders or the customer. Okay, how this digital or data can change the way we think, the way we work. Maybe if I have a chance, I would like to share to the younger generation of doctors, like to equip with this basic digital skills. Because what I believe in the future, the doctor with some digital skills will replace doctors without those. So if we can use efficiently to this doctor, I think the healthcare delivery system can be improved, outcome of the patient can be improved. So I continued my journey. So I work also like I'm really like proud of to become like you said interpreter between two different worlds. Like I think I I'm I'm I am in for it totally, and then whether it is from the Myanmar, whether it is for the like the regional, whichever part of the world, I think if I can support the community for the human and the some part of the world, then I'll be happy. And then thank you very much and I really appreciate for being here.
First, thank you so much for that. Now, here are my two final questions for you that I have got for every single of my guests. The first one first is, what is your most important first principle?
Okay. Most important is just see what you mean what you say. So this is the most important. To become the honest. So honestly, when I changed to this kind of corporate life business, I was a bit worried. I'm not fit because in the business world, there's always some tricky way might happen, But I might fail in some sense, but I will not. I will just hold on to this and I will just be honest. I will just be open to, and then I will see what I mean and I will mean what I say. I think this is the principle I would say for myself.
What is one book that you have read and thought it would have been better for your younger self to have?
Okay, so if it's, I would say for my younger self, I would recommend the Talent Code by the Daniel Quire. So Daniel Quire had the two very good books. One is the Culture Code, one is the Talent Code. Culture Code is more about the organization, but if you're asking about like personal young self, I would say Talent Code. Because this is about the learning something new and everything. So when I was young, for those techniques, like I did not know. So just why it is there's an opportunity I would like to share. It's called the REPS approach, right? So REPS. So everything what we try to learn, we have to reach. We have to repeat this R. So we have to reach where's the learning point. It can be from a book, it can be from a person, it can be from a listening to somebody conversation, and then engage with the learning that whatever the teaching, whatever the like a sharing, and then with the purposeful. And every new learning, you need to have your purpose. You need to have not for the sake of learning. It is for your like leisure. It is for the contribution. It is for your like self skill improvement. And then at the last is a strong and speedy feedback. So from each learning, from each application, the feedback mechanism you have to know. Okay, like how from this learning, I did something. Is it good? And also you need to have self reflection of those of learning and application. So I would say to my younger self, just keep this. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sitt Paing, and sharing all of these things has been very wonderful and a very unique episode about the use of the data and analytic in the healthcare from so many perspectives. Once again, thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Jason. Have a wonderful day. Really hope we can catch up soon again. Thank you.
Absolutely. Hello. If you enjoyed this conversation, hit that subscribe button so we can meet again. If you don't, I'll be stuck in an infinite loop. So pull that part by clicking the subscribe and help me out. You can further support us by leaving us a kind review from wherever you are listening. At the end of the year, I will choose a reviewer to send a special gift to, and it might just be you. I look forward to seeing you here next week for a new adventure. If I can find my way out of this endless loop. See ya!